Welcome to GREYS, your one-stop shop to finding winners across Australia from the world of greyhound racing. Host David Short is joined by Hall of Famer Neil Brown, Jason Campbell to look at Queensland and Tasmanian chasing, Sean Matheson looking at South Australian chasing, New South Wales expert Simon Orchard, and the Shane Train Williams rounds it out with his key plays and kennel mail in WA. Now, over to the team for this week's edition of GREYS.
And a very good morning, everyone, and welcome along to GREYS. It is a sad morning this morning because we're without the great man David Short, and we send out our condolences to David and also his lovely mum, his wife and family, and the many friends of his father who passed away on the weekend. But we continue on, and that's what Shorty would want us to do, to keep promoting the sport that he loves, as we all do. And we say a very good morning to the Shane Train. Shane Williams, how are you, Shane? And we'll just try that again. Shane Train, are you with us? No? All right, we might get Matt to go through that again. We do have greyhound racing tonight at Cannington, so just take note. No Mandurah greyhound racing tonight and next Thursday. The meeting has been transferred to Cannington tonight and also next Thursday with some maintenance to happen there. All right, so Matt's worked out the desk. He's a professional, as you'd expect, and we say good morning to Shane Williams. How are you, Shane?
Yeah, good morning, Pete. Good morning, listeners. And yeah, I echo those comments about Shorty's father, and my deepest sympathy goes out to his family.
Yes, thank you for that. Let's go to tonight's program at Cannington. And just before we do that, West on Sydney was impressive last night. Third quickest time ever at Cannington, and really set the clock alight.
Yeah, he really did, Pete. And I guess it's no surprise to the camp there. They had a big opinion of him, chucking him straight in the Puppy Classic heats when he was a maiden. And let's not forget, he did PT 29.60 in his qualifying trial. So, yeah, but when the dogs light up the clock like that, Pete, it's very exciting. And, another one by Tommy Shelby, who's doing a great job at stud.
Is he a dog that's too early for the Perth Cup with the heats next Saturday night?
Oh, I think the kennel will throw him in the Perth Cup heats, as they've put him in the Puppy Classic heats as a maiden. So they obviously got a big opinion of him. But just a matter of where he draws, Pete. He just lacks that little bit of early speed. And I think the kennel have said it already that he's destined to go over the longer trips. Maybe he's a little bit early to step up at this stage, but I think moving forward he's going to be a really good stayer. And there's not many. The stayers are pretty even at the moment, as we've seen. But obviously that early boxman is. When you go up in grade, it's that's when you draw the middle draws, Pete, and you've got no speed, you can get a few hidings, and I'm sure the Holst clan will take note of that, and they'll do the right thing by the dog. But yeah, I expect him to be in the heats next week, and if he could draw inside, and he'd be a big chance to win in the heat.
Well, he was supported after last night. He's now into $21 with Tab Touch. The favourites, equal favourites, Flying Zulu, Miss Envy at $7. Your greyhound Iconic Jet's currently on the market at $10. How's he progressing?
Yeah, we give him a little bit extra time off, Pete, after Sydney, because he had done a bit of travelling, and I always remember Robbie Britton telling me that eventually the travelling will catch up with him. So instead of rushing him back, we just sort of give him a bit of extra time off, and he's trialling tomorrow, so we'll know more tomorrow, but he's had one trial back and he's gone really well. And he'll have a trial tomorrow and then a post-to-post on Tuesday night, and all going well, he'll be in the heats on Saturday as well. But I think moving forward with him, Pete, he's got bigger fish to fry. Very close to getting a slot in the Sandgroper, which is exciting. And then there's the derbies coming up here, and then we want to take him on the road again after that. So yeah, he's just given a little bit extra time off after Sydney, and the pad's held up nice and well. But just thought that giving him that extra time off with all the flying he's done is a benefit for him.
It'll be exciting to see him in the Sandgroper. Now let's turn our attention across to Cannington on a Thursday night. Back to the old days when we used to race at Cannington on a Thursday. What are your best tonight, please?
Yeah, there's some track work's been done at Mandurah, Pete, for the next 2 Thursdays, I believe. So we'll be at Cannington there the next 2 Thursday nights. Tonight at Cannington, I'm going to kick it off with race 6, number 3, Kais and Shadows, a dog trained by Pete Brown. I think we can claim him to be the best beginner in the state over the short trips, Pete. He went 5:34 early last week, which is just ridiculous. And they simply don't go any quicker than that. And the 1569, as you know, overall is a very quick run as well. So I think you'll see him launch to the front and be hard to run down. Race 6, number 3, Kais and Shadow to kick us off.
Okay, where do we go with the second leg?
Yeah, race 8, number 7, Killer Kelly, a dog trained by Glenn Curry. I'm happy to have a small play on him tonight in this race. He does have a handy record from outside draws, and he gets the benefit of Leclerc in box 6, who will do some damage carving left, as he normally does at box rise, and that could make a path for Killer Kelly down the outside to get to the top, and from there I think she'll be hard to beat. Race 8, number 7, Killer Kelly. Okay,
and I reckon you might be going to the last because there's a favourite of yours in race 12.
Yeah, which one is that?
I reckon you'll be tipping the 4, Tony Scott's greyhound, who was a last start winner, Ahana Renati.
Yeah, I am, actually. There's another one out wide. There's another one out wide that I normally pick, but I already liked the win of this dog last week, and I thought it was its first win in a while, and I just thought I'd get a lot of confidence out of that win. And I did notice, but it's about $9 or $10, so we can definitely play it each way. It's always thereabouts, and I just think box 4 gets its chance to roll to the top and be hard to beat over that short trip, race 12, number 4. Okay, you have been tipping some at good prices recently, so keep up that good work. Friday night chasing returns down to Mandurah, 11 event card, and we have the final of the shorts, which is a very good race. David Hobby has a strong hand in the race with boxes 1, 2 and 4, but it's a strong field with a fair bit of depth. Yeah, I'm just doing the form for Mandurah now as we speak, Pete, and just got to that race, but a lot of chances. I think with Fancy That Fred in 5, it nearly rules out the outside division, in my opinion. I just thought something down near the rail is going to get the run along the fence, and he's got good speed, Fancy That Fred, and he does want to head to the outside fence. So I think the dogs in 6, 7 and 8 might struggle a little bit, but we'll get back to that tomorrow when we talk to the boys in the morning. But it's a good card on Friday night. Also, Pete, there's a few dogs having a run in the free-for-all over the 488, just changing it up a bit before likely to head back to the Perth Cup heats next week. So that 488 free-for-all is a good race as well. So, not a bad card there on Friday night. And what can you tell us about Saturday night with the preludes of the Perth Cup? Smooth playing for Thomas Daly. Tom, of course, won Group 1 last week at the Meadows, the Rookie Rebel. This greyhound's won over $520,000 in stake money and comes across to WA for the Perth Cup Series. Yeah, well, he's the ultimate professional, Pete. He's been nearly everywhere in Australia. He's been Adelaide, Brisbane, Sydney, and obviously now he comes to Perth. I just think they're using this as a trial for next week, which is always a smart move. I've noticed them come over years gone by just straight into the Perth Cup heats, and it's gone horribly wrong. Obviously, we have the Safe Chase lure, which is very silent lure, so obviously done the right thing this year by sending the dogs over early, giving them a look at the track for next week's heats. Morton's obviously been here before, now in the care of Steve Withers. He would have had a few trials here as well as that one start he had last year in the Sandgroper. Smooth playing, I want to see him go around this week. He'll be better for it next week. And we also heard news this morning, Pete, I don't know if you listened, but Mapunga Tully's coming over, the Australian Cup winner. She's coming over for Jeff Britton, so she will probably have a trial Tuesday night, I would imagine, and go into the heats next week. And then we look at the stayers. We'll nearly have half the field of Fanta Bale stayers in the heats here next week, Pete, which is really good. It's we don't have a lot of good stayers here at the moment, so that's going to boost that Galaxy series up really well. Ethanol Water, she's playing a bit of Jekyll and Hyde at the moment. I think, Pete, she's she's hard to catch. She will lead one week and then come from behind the next week, and no doubt if she's at her best, she'll be too good for them. The 700's not so... you don't need that look as much as what you do in the 500 as you get a little bit more time to wind up and go through your gears. But Passmark actually beat Ethanol Water home in that Group 1 final last week, and she's nearly triple the price. So she could be one to watch out for in the prelude this week. But again, these dogs are just going to improve next week off their look on Saturday night. And I think Jeff said also he's bringing Groove Bird over this morning. So that's another one that's going to add some depth to that series, Pete. So Unreal Speed's currently the favourite at $4, Lanfranco and Ethanol Water at $8. I'll come back and ask you whether there's a runner in the pre-post markets for the Galaxy and the Perth Cup in a moment, if you don't mind holding Shane. We're talking with Shane Williams on Great Greys this morning here on TAB Radio Racing and Sport.
They're at the start at Kyneton and they're set for the first at Wyong. Before we go there, let's go back to Shane Williams. Shane, we're talking about the Galaxy and some very talented chasers coming across from the Eastern States. So Eastern States runners, Unreal Speed, $4, Lanfranco, Ethanol Water at $8, Kenya All Class and Passmark Urbanity currently at $11. Is there anything in the market that you see that jumps off the page for you that you'd be having a small investment on?
Yeah, well, I think I broke the news this morning that Unreal Speed's already here, Pete. It's trialling tomorrow. It's the favourite, as we know. So anyone that wanted to jump on that, we know that the dog's here now and going to go in the heats next week. I think it's only having its forefront back in 9 months, Peter, from what it did last week to win that Group 1 in Melbourne. It's only going to improve. We know Robert Britton has a great record in the Galaxy. He's a champion trainer of stayers, and I would think $4 is a good price all in, now that you know that the dog's here, Pete. So obviously it's going to go around tomorrow, and then we'll probably try and get that trial and report it back, and then it'll be in the heats next week. And
is Flying Zulu likely to start? Currently $7 equal favourite with Miss MV Excavation, another Victorian at $8 for the Perth Cup. I haven't heard any news on Flying Zulu. The dog I was hearing that was coming for the Sandgroper slot for the Thompson Cam was Excavation. So I'm not sure if it will come and have a look at the track for the Sandgroper in the Perth Cup heat. So I haven't heard any news, but that was the one I heard that was coming, Excavation for the Thompson Kennel. All right. Looking forward to Cannington tonight. Shane Williams best, race 6, number 3, race 8, number 7, race 12, number 4. Thanks, Shane, for your time, and looking forward to catching up with you over the weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. All the best, punters.
Now, Shane Williams just texts through a couple of pre-post markets that he's had a quick look at. Action shot at $21 in the Cup. Wise Barra, $34. He thinks there's some value there. And in the Galaxy, Unreal Speed, he does like at $4 and Max Capacity, $15. So thanks to the Shane Train for sending that information through. We're continuing on. You're on Great Greys. Our great friend David Short, as I mentioned, our condolences go out to Shorty and his family with the passing of his father over the weekend. Jason Campbell's about to join us to take a look at tonight's program at Albion Park, and it's a good card as well. Jason, good morning to you.
Morning. How are you, Peter?
Yeah, I'm going very well. Earlier on, I mentioned our condolences to David Short. You've worked with Shorty for a long period of time, and he's been a great ambassador for greyhound racing, and I'm sure you and the greyhound fraternity around Australia would also be sending on your best wishes.
Yeah, no, I got that message from Shorty early at the start of this week, and condolences out to him and obviously his family. And if his father was half as good a man as Shorty is and what he's been to me, I'm sure he was a very good man, and he's got to be obviously very loved, and sad to see him go.
Yeah, very similar to his father is Shorty. Let's turn our attention across to Albion Park tonight. A good program. Where do we start with your best, please?
My best of the night, race 2, number 2, Zipping Marcel. This bitch won her first 2 starts and was a little bit luckless there in the Vince Curry Memorial Final. She drew off the track and just wasn't able to find a position in running. We saw her have her Albion Park debut 3 weeks ago, and she ran third to a dog by the name of Chatterbug. She's been a subsequent winner on 2 occasions over this track and trip. So I think Zipping Marcel's a pretty fair price here, around that $4 mark. Moet Magic in box 1, the current favourite. I think she'll make the race for Zipping Marcel. She does hit a bit of a flat spot, Moet Magic, so I think Zipping Marcel can get her down the back and hopefully hold her off in the finish.
All right. And then later on in the program, have you got a couple of specials?
Yep, race 9, number 2, Miss Dark. So I just don't think there's a lot of speed drawn around her here. I think she'll be able to cross the red quite easily, find the front big.
I've just dropped off with Jason there, so we'll just check that line. But he was about to say race 9, number 2, Miss Darkside, who's already had some support in the market. Miss Darkside from $3.20 into $2.90, a greyhound that certainly is racing well and drawn well there, Jason. We just dropped your line off there. So just repeating, race 9, number 2, Miss Darkside.
Yeah, drawn quite well. I thought she'd be kicking up and leading this race. I just don't think there's a lot of speed in this race. And the main danger is probably the Ford Dacey's Chief, but he is first up from a month's spell, so I'm not quite sure where he is at. And she's been running quite well. Miss Darkside has placed in her last 2 starts. And we had to race 12, the last race on the card. We were with Hello Warren last week from box 7. He was a little bit stiff. He got a bit too far back and stormed home to run second. I think he's really well drawn here. The dog in box 2 and box 3, Minter Formula, Shane Natural, they'll both press forward. If he can just lob into 3rd or 4th position, exiting the first turn, you'll get the better of them late in the piece. So I am 2-2. 9-2 and 12-4 at Albion Park tonight.
Okay, you've just gone through your summer carnival, which was very successful, and we've got a few greyhounds that have come across to Western Australia early for the Perth Cup and Galaxy that have raced up in Queensland. And I speak of Ethanol Water, a greyhound that's won over $340,000. You got to see him up at Queensland at least over the summer months.
Yeah, she was very dominant up there in Queensland. She won that Gold Cup and Black Silencer that Tommy Savellis had going really well up there. She's a bitch, obviously, that we've seen race in Victoria since then. And she was, I guess, I wouldn't say she was unlucky there in the Fanabelle on the weekend, but unreal speed. He's a very, very talented greyhound, as we know, and as long as he stays injury-free, it's going to be extremely hard to beat in the upcoming Galaxy.
All right, let's turn our attention across, as you always do on a Thursday with Shorty, and take a look at a few tips for Hobart as well. Where should we start?
Race 1, number 7, Defensive. This bitch makes her debut down there in the upper aisle. I thought she was really impressive at a second start over the 410 metres at Horsham. Showed a great deal of speed from a wide box, was able to lead and fend off the late challengers. I think she's found an extremely winnable race, not much on paper here. So I think she'll be extremely hard to hold out from the front, and then from there I think she'll be home and hosed. Race 3, number 5, Buzzard Zorro. This is the clear class run of this race for mine. Box 6, Wise Sparky, bit of a noted wide runner, so he's got to get a lot of room to move in the early stages. And if he's anywhere near the front, he'll be extremely hard to beat. And race 7, number 8, Kanya Cyan. She's another bitch that makes her Tasmanian debut tonight. This is only a 4-dog maiden, very poor maiden at that. She has had the 2 placings to her name. Last of that being at Bulleye from box 8, albeit only in a 3-dog field. So I'm guessing something did have to run third there, and it was her. I think if she has trialled well and she presents to the racetrack with 4 legs, Peter, I think she'll...
Okay, so Kenya Cyan in race number 7 on the program. A couple of early scratchings there, the 1 and the 2, unfortunately, in the leg of the quaddie to make it a very small field. What is your best from Albion Park and also from tonight's meeting at Hobart? Is there one there, Jason?
Yeah, I thought Zippy Marcel, race 2, number 2, I expected her to be a little bit shorter in the market. I think $4 is a great price. I think she will shorten up closer to betting. And as I mentioned there, race 7, number 8, I know she is a short price. Kenya Cyan, she's about twos on pop with Tab Touch. I do think she'll be winning. She looks the clear class runner of the race. Not sure how many more wins she has in store, but if she can't knock over this race, I'd be a little bit concerned if I was in the ownership group.
Good on you, mate. Thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, Peter. Have a good one.
Good on you. Jason Campbell joining us, taking a look at Queensland and also Hobart. Those numbers at Kyneton, 2, 9, 11 and 1. Bit of shush at $1.20 for Jamie Mallum winning. You can get all that information at Tab Touch. Let's head across to Victoria, and Neil Brown, who's a great friend of ours on Tab Radio and also great GREYS, joins us online this morning. And you've had a lot to do with the great man David Short. Our hearts and thoughts are with him at the moment. Brownie's doing it pretty tough, as you'd expect, with his father passing on the weekend.
Yes, absolutely. All condolences from here in Victoria for Dave. He's a very popular racing man around Australia and sports guy, and we're really our thoughts are with David and his family at this very tough time for him. So yes, we'll soldier on and see if we can find some winners, Pete. You've got the launching pad just around the corner, and we had a young greyhound having just his 4th start last night at Cannington, named West on Sydney, go the 3rd quickest time ever at Cannington. So I'm sure he'll be having eyes, and the Britons and the Holsters having eyes on the launching pad, which is just around the corner. Yes, it is. One of our really popular features at Sandown Park coming up over the next few weeks, and yes, it's been won by some terrific greyhounds, and some real top liners have been held back for it. The conditions are very... I always did enjoy the way we put the launching pad together with those conditions, and a really up-and-coming young greyhound gets to win some big prize money, and it's developed over the years into an extremely popular event, Pete, and we always unearth a real star, and perhaps the one in Western Australia will be part of that, but... Yes, it's a reasonably well-priced entry fee these days, so it's not something that owners and trainers can't afford, is it? And so we get good fields, and looking forward to that unfolding.
Yes, we don't mind coming across to Victoria and trying to take some of your prize money off you, as a couple of your boys are doing and girls doing over the next few weeks with our Perth Cup Carnival. Tommy Daly bringing Smooth Plane across, and he's also got Ethanol Water, and Jeff Britton's got a couple of smart ones in this weekend in preparation for the Group 1 Sky Racing Perth Cup and Galaxy Series.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, it's a very heavily sought-after event, isn't it? And we've got, tremendous fields at Horsham for the Cup tomorrow night. Probably the best 40 greyhounds in the state are going around there in 5 heats. So they're going to get a phenomenal final, I'd say, at Horsham next week. And, it'll be followed up then over to the Perth Cup and what have you. So the top liners get plenty of crack at good prize money and, traditionally great races with long honour rolls, haven't they got, Pete? These races like the Perth Cup and that.
Definitely. Now, I know you're going to give us a couple of winners tonight at Sandown. I'm not sure if you've had a look at the Horsham Cup and you've got a selection for us there, but where should we start? Should we start with the Horsham Cup? Have you got a selection for our listeners?
Oh, gee, you'd have to think the way Tim Zoo is racing, narrowly beaten in a terrific Australian Cup. He's up there with a couple of the other Jason Thompson runners, and they're going to feature pretty well. But there's hardly anything missing, Pete, so they're pretty competitive heats. There are plenty of chances in the 5 heats when I had a glance at them, in preparation for having a bet tomorrow night. But there's a few standouts, and as I say, that very powerful Thompson kennel well represented up there. So we'll look forward to what unfolds at Horsham tomorrow night, which has left a very challenging card for Sandown Park, Pete.
Well, I'm glad that we've got an expert like you on to find us a winner and maybe a quaddie as well. Where are the best tonight at Sandown?
Well, going through the early quad, race number 1, 5:15 mixed 6th and 7th grade, Pete, I thought the 1 would be the greyhound to beat. I'm going to take 1, 5 and 7, but I thought Dongali Don would be the one to beat. He's the best drawn in the small field, and I think he'll win. Race number 2, 5:15 metre restricted win here. I'm going to take only 3 runners, 5, 2 and 1. These greyhounds have won only between 2 and 3 races. I thought the 5 would be the one to beat. Watch Me Explode. I think he's never headed in his 2 starts at Ballarat. He looks an exciting youngster, so I think he can find the lead, maybe be the one to beat. Race number 3 is a grade 5 over the 5:15. Again, I'm only taking 3 runners, 4, 7 and 2. I've got Poor Gunner on top, just needs to come out with them, and last start was okay from box number 8, and I think he's the one to beat, but certainly chances to 7 and 2. And in the 4th, the last leg of the early quad is a mixed 3rd and 4th grade over the 5:15. I made it 2, 7, 1. Pretty keen about Poor Ollie, nicely drawn here. It's got some handy form at Sandown Park and was a good run last week behind our best bet that got home. Where's Poppy chased it all away for a second performance. So I'm going to take 2, 7 and 1. In fact, I don't mind the Quinella, Harvington and Poor Ollie. I think they might run 1, 2 in that 4th. Going to the main quad tonight, race number 5 is a grade 5 over the 5:15. I'm taking 1, 2 and 6 here. I've got Van Wyck on top. It's best of the night. Geelong wins, and it's got nicely drawn in box number 1 here tonight. I think it's the one to beat. The 2, A Chance, Cosmic Reward, led for a long way. It's got some early speed, and the 6 is an honest type. Couple of wins here on the track. So we're going to take 1, 2 and 6 in the first league. Grade 5 over the 5:15 is race number 6. Very open race here. I like 2, 7 and 1. I've got the 2 on top begging. I think draw suits. I think it can lead. The 7, Fernando Duke, good record here. He's won 3 races and 4 placings on the track. I think he's going to be competitive in this. Has won from outside draws. And the other one I'm going to take is the 1, Poor Yukola. I think it's got very honest type and a couple of wins here on the track as well. So we'll take 2, 7 and 1. Race number 7, very hard race over the 5:95 here for the grade 5 greyhounds. 1, 6 and 8. I do like them when they're drawn inside. Reality Pie I've got on top, but it is a competitive race. Probably the best drawn. It's won 3 fairly low grade 595s here, so it knows its way around all right. The 6, Smooth Ranger, I think it needs some bit of luck early, but it's certainly a chance. Likewise, the 8, Poor Arena, it's got a similar form line, and it's got to find a bit of luck from box number 8 as well. I think you can throw the 2 in too if you can go wide there. And average form, but it is probably a chance in open race from that inside draw. So 1, 6, 8 and 2 in a tough affair, the third leg. The last leg coming home over the 7.15, a similar race to the 7.15 last week, a mixed 4th and 5th grade here. Gee, this is tough. 6, 3, 8 and 7 I'm going to take, and we might even miss it. But I've got the 6 on top, Sunset Wisp. Solid effort last week, chance again. I think the 3 also upset Sunset, beaten only 4.5 lengths or so last week, so it's a chance again in this. The 8 Navarino, he's having his first run over the 7.15. Honest type of greyhound. He's been racing for some time. He always puts in an effort, and I think the 7 did win here last week, double denim, and it's a similar race to the one it was in last week, so it's got to be a chance, but very competitive, 7.15, 6, 3, 8 and 7. So tough card tonight. As I say, my best is in race 4, number 7. Race 4, number 2, Paul Rolly, but I wouldn't mind having a bit on the Quinella, 2 and 7 in the 4th. Might be a bit of value with Harvington being $10, Pete. So good luck and good punting at Sandown Park tonight.
Good on you, Brownie. Thanks very much for your time. Looking forward to catching up with you soon.
No worries, Pete. Thanks, mate.
Neil Brown joining us. And just take note, Kyneton race number 2 has been put back to 10:43, so we're about 9 minutes away from race number 2, and Wyong is at 10:45. Let's continue on with the Great Greys this morning. Sean Matheson's about to join us from South Australia to take a look at the Angle Park program tonight. How are you, Sean?
Yeah, great, Peter. Great to be on the show with you this morning. Really looking forward to our race meeting tonight at Angle Park, in particular highlighted by our South Australian launching pad final that gets one of our local dogs through to the big series in Victoria, kicking off in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're just talking to Brownie. It's a really exciting series, isn't it? The launching pad that's been very successful over in Victoria, and you've got a couple of smart youngsters there at the moment. One of them, My Boy Bingo, and Dashing Slay looks to have ability.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, it's a wonderful series for these greyhounds starting out their career, and we're really rapt to be somewhat of a part of it, in that our GRSA have got a ticket, aligned it to a race series, and we've had terrific support over the last 7 or 8 years from our participants. And it gives a real good opportunity for them to sort of put their names up on the national stage in Victoria in a couple of weeks. But definitely they've got to get through tonight's race, which will be quite a really exciting race to watch.
Have you got a best in? I know you've got some best on the program tonight, but does one of them come up in that launching pad?
It does, yeah. So one of my best bets will be in race 8. It's number 2, Dashing Slay, as you mentioned, Peter, a really nice up-and-coming greyhound, a winner of 2 of her last 3. And drawn box 2, I think she gets every opportunity to get to the rail, which is really where she wants to get to. She's run 30.52 at Angle Park. She's definitely got, she can come from behind, but I think she's going to be up on speed here tonight from that nice inside draw. Had no luck at all in the heat last week when she ran 3rd, got home really hard. Drawn much better, around that $3 mark. I reckon she's definitely one of my best bets tonight.
All right, so where do we start with your best bet on this program at Angle Park?
So we'll go to race 3 for the first of them, and I do like number 8, Binaway Warrior for Nicole Price. Again, the race favourite here for this event, around that 225 mark, was his maiden 2 runs ago in 31.31, which is a bit of an average time, but then really improved last week in running 2nd, running 30.85, and was desperately unlucky not to win last week, was checked off the back straight, when had good momentum up, rebalanced, and a run 30.85 in running 2nd was a really good run. So I reckon this dog's on the improve. The wide draw will be okay for Binaway Warrior. Should lob second or third, I think, and just get that run home power and should be too good.
Okay, so currently $2.45 on Tab Touch, race 3, number 8, Binaway Warrior, the second leg.
And so the second will be in race 7, and it's number 6, Kai Kai. And Peter, she's a little bit of a favourite of mine. She's run a few placings of late at good odds. Tonight she's the race favourite around that sort of 3:30ish mark, and quite justifiably so. I think she was a really, really good run last week. She was squeezed early, going to the first turn, got herself to the rail in third, and then railed really hard into the back straight. Ran to second behind Bookaloo, who's in the Open Company race tonight. So I think this is her race to win. There's a vacant box on her inside. She wants to get to the rail and has decent speed. So I think she'll be able to work her way towards the front. She'll either lead or she'll sit second, but she'll rail really hard into the back straight. And I think she'll hopefully find herself in front turning for home.
All right, so race 3, number 8, race 7, number 6, and then we went into race 8, number 2. Is there any more for our listeners, or just the 3 of them?
Just the 3 for tonight. There's a couple for the listeners as we go into the week of racing, Peter, if you want me to throw them out.
Definitely, yes, please.
So Gawler tomorrow, our day meeting, I like race 3, number 6, Droid Smith for Robin McKellar. Only very lightly raced, a win in 2 seconds. Should win again here tomorrow in Grade 6 company. Rob McKellar's team is going exceptionally well. Then Saturday morning for the early risers, our time-graded meeting, I like race 6, number 1, Aston Phantom for Paul Fagan. As one from box 8 and box 1 last 2 starts, drawn box 1 again here on Saturday morning, should be winning again. And then our feature meeting outside of tonight, Peter, comes up at Murray Bridge on Sunday night, which heats of our Group 3 Murray Bridge Cup. We have 7 heats, which is a fantastic result, and a great mix of metro dogs, regional dogs, and also dogs from across the border. And I do like one here for Chloe Vandermart and James Vandermart, race 8, number 1, Will Vanson from Victoria. They've supported the Murray Bridge track over the last couple of years. They've finally drawn a box with Will Vanson. He's drawn 1. I think he's going to love that on Sunday night and be extremely hard to beat.
They don't mind travelling, do they, the Vandermarts?
Absolutely, and we see them across here regularly for our straight track at Murray Bridge and definitely the one turn. Terrific people, and it'd be nice to get them a little bit of success here in South Australia. As much as I'm parochial for the South Australians, but they're terrific supporters, so they can win one race maybe on the card.
Good on you, Sean. So that's on Sunday at Murray Bridge, race 8, number 1, Sean Matheson on GREYS. Thanks for joining us, Sean.
Thanks, Pete. Always appreciate it.
Good on you, Sean Matheson, taking a look at South Australian greyhound racing, and we're about to head across to take a look at New South Wales greyhound racing. Simon Orchard's about to join us on GREYS. Peter O'Neill filling in for David Short, who, as I mentioned, our condolences out with the great man this morning. Simon, how are you?
Yeah, good afternoon, Pete. Good afternoon, listeners. Going well, mate. Looking forward to a big card tomorrow night at Richmond, the running of the Derby, the Oaks, both Group 2 events, both worth $40,000 to the winner. And a quick spoiler, I'm tipping a former WA dog to take out the Oaks, Pete. So lots to look forward to tomorrow night out in Sydney's West. Okay, before we get to that, have you got anything tonight at Wentworth Park? Yeah, sure do. 5-6 Kenya Sapphire and 10-8 Zipping Deckers, the two best bets tonight. Zipping Deckers is an interesting one. Comes out of the Robert Smith Memorial Maiden, one of the mini Finn runners who just had no luck. They all got cluttered up in the run to the first turn at the Gardens last Saturday night, but she was really spectacular in the heats of that race. She went up and had a crack at the Ipswich young guns up there as well. So she's a dog with immense ability, and I think she can bounce back from the wide draw in a small field. So 5-6 Kenya Sapphire and 10-8 Zipping Deckers, the best bets at Wenty Park tonight. If you want to have a play at Casino this afternoon as well, 11-8 Burring Bar Rebel, the best play on the card up there in the Northern Rivers. So Casino 11-8, Wenty Park 5-6 and 10-8. They're the best bets today around the state, Pete. All right. Now, tomorrow, as you mentioned, we're going to Richmond. They are at the start at Kyneton and getting to the start at Wyong as well. We might make a start on Richmond tomorrow, as you mentioned. You've mentioned a WA greyhound, so let our listeners know which West Australian greyhound's up there for the Oaks. Yeah, Sweet B, under the care of Michelle Sultana and Daryl Thomas now. So you're not going to get two better mentors here in New South Wales. And they've got a history of taking dogs on board and getting big results with them. McKenna with the Easter egg last year. Sunset Fraser came over and won the Blacktop. So they've got a great relationship with a lot of trainers around the States. And Sweet Bee had her first run in the heats last week. She's drawn the red. Not only me, a lot of good trainers are tipping her to improve again. And we know the short run of the first turn suits dogs to the inside. I think Sweet Bee can take out the Oaks tomorrow night.
So her mum, Sweet Imitated, is she related to Sweet It Is?
I've got no idea, Pete, to be honest.
I reckon she might be.
Question that I'll take on notice and get back to you.
Yeah, I reckon
next.
She had a couple of starts here in Western Australia recently. That was back in February, and I reckon that she might be closely related to Sweet It Is, who, of course, won a Group 1 over here. So race 6, number 1 at Richmond. I cut you off. Any other specials on the program? What about in the Derby?
Yeah, look, I can't go past Zipping Chaplin. I know people say, well, he's the favourite. But he's the favourite for a reason. We mentioned that short run of the first turn. I think it's 4:30 odd for good dogs to the mark, and he's a dog that'll miss the start. He'll just suck onto the rail, and then he's strong as an ox, this thing. I think he deserves to be one of the favourites for the Country Classic over 600 metres. That's where he's heading. Minnie Finn and many others believe that he's the best dog in New South Wales at the moment. So I just think with a couple of roughies drawn inside him, Chaplin will miss the start, suck onto the rail. He'll avoid any chaos at the first bend. And then, as I mentioned, he's got a real motor, so he can come home over the top of him. So that's race 8. Number 3, Zipping Chaplin, Sweet Bee to win the Oaks. And then if you wanted to have a play, Wentworth Park on... What are we looking at? Wentworth Park on Saturday night. There's a couple of odds aren't out yet, I should mention, which happens often at this time of the week when we talk to Shorty normally. But if you want to have a play Saturday night, the best bet's race 10, number 1, Ferrero Girl for Preston Rouse. Impressive since she's come to Wentworth Park. She's got a great turn of foot. I think she'll get cover from the 2. Ferrero Girl's a deserved best bet on the card Saturday night at Wenty, 10, number 1.
Good on you, Simon. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good on you, Pete. Hooroo.
I'm filling in for David Short this morning. Hopefully we're finding a few winners for the greyhound enthusiasts and taking a look at tonight's meeting at Cannington. So just take note, Cannington tonight, the first race gets underway at 6:38. And I thought the first of the best tonight came up in race 5, number 6, in Sunset Lightfoot. David Hobby has a couple of runners going around in the field. This greyhound's got a lot of ability. Sunset Worm has got some speed on the inside, and I thought would be able to bring Sunset Lightfoot into the race. So the first leg of the quaddie, race 5, number 6, Sunset Lightfoot. And then race 6, number 3, Kaizen Shadow, greyhound with early speed for Pete Brown. And while Night Lighter's going to be respected from out wide, I thought Kaizen Shadow was the one to beat. So race 6, number 3. Turning our attention across to Friday night chasing. The shorts final is the feature on what is going to be a really good program on Friday night. And, of course, chasing winners tomorrow morning. Jesse Earnshaw and I will go through both the Friday and Saturday cards in a lot of detail. But the first leg of the best comes up in race number 4, number 8, Toxic Park, now in the care of Christine Bennett, a greyhound who ran second last start from box number 4. The time was okay. Prior to that, had run some quick times at Mandurah, won a maiden in 27.68 from a wide draw. So I like Toxic Park. Race 4, number 8. Into race 5, the free-for-all, Aston Bollinger. This is a really good field. Aston Bollinger, Sunset Serengeti, Aston Costello. Also throw in the likes of Sunset Hornet, Belmarino. It's a really good race, but I thought Aston Bollinger, because of the draw, would be able to find the top and be very, very hard to beat over the 488 metres. She's won a couple of times over the trip. She's got a personal best of 27.30, and while she hasn't won in 5 starts, I think she can bounce back. She's been racing against some really smart types, including the Barbecue Man, Crumble, Manelli Rare Speed recently, and I think this is a little bit easier for her, although it is a really good field. And the final of the shorts is a really good race. Race 6, number 1 in Sunset Nightjar, because of the inside draw in a feature final over the 400 metres, can kick up just behind this speed and fancy that Fred's drawn in the middle, who won his heat last week. The fact that he likes to use plenty of the track, I think it's going to make it harder for the greyhounds out wider to be able to get across. So I think it opens it up for the inside brigade. And Sunset Nightjar, race 6, number 1 on Friday. Saturday night's a ripping card. We have a couple of preludes, one of the Perth Cup of greyhounds coming across from the eastern states, taking on our best. and also of the Galaxy. So race 3, number 3, Wise Barra. We see Smooth Plain, who's won over $500,000 in stake money. Morton's won $585,000. They're two very classy chasers, but I just think Wise Barra, even though she was beaten last start, I think she can bounce back. She has the speed underneath her in Crumble Manelli to be able to bring her into the race. She's going to get plenty of galloping room early, and I think she's the one to beat. So race 3, number 3, Wise Barra, to defeat the Victorians, having their first look back at the track. Into race number 4. Now, I am going for Ethanol Water here. This greyhound's won over $340,000 in stake money. Weston Booney's an interesting runner in the race because of the fact that he won the Galaxy last year. He's had 2 starts over this distance. He's won both of them. I don't think he's going as well. He did win over the 5:20 2 starts ago. The time was 30:02, which was okay. Did get a couple of checks, mind you, and then ran second in the final behind Boracay Summer, which was a really good run, and he got checks there as well. The 7:15 is going to suit him. I'm not quite sure whether he's ready on Saturday night for this race. He'll strip fitter in the heats and the final if he makes it. So I'm going race 4, number 8, Ethanol Water. And then Not Atrocious for Harvey, trainer Fran Farrell. Drawn box number 1. This greyhound's been knocking on the door. She's been placed second at 4 of her last 6 outings. She gets her opportunity to break through. She's yet to win in 5 starts at Cannington. She's finished second 3 times, mind you, and she hasn't been beaten that far. Was only beaten 3/4 of a length behind Solo Man last week. Box number 1 suits, and I think she'll be winning on Saturday night as well. So that's race 5, number 1, Not Atrocious. Speaking of the Perth Cup, Matt, as I wrap up GREYS, March 15, Saturday, March 15 is the final, and there's always a big night for those punters on course and also for the kids off course as well. There'll be free activities. There'll be extra bars, pop-up bars outside. So looking forward to the Perth Cup. And Tab Radio Racing and Sport will have an outside broadcast. The great man David Short will be back with us, and we'll be out there live from 6 o'clock on the Saturday night, Saturday the 15th of March, giving all of the greyhound enthusiasts across Australia and the world all of the latest information from Cannington.
Look forward to that, as you are, no doubt.
I am, yeah, looking forward to it. Always a good time. The heats next week will be outstanding because...
That's always the best night, isn't it?
Yeah, we get so many of the good dogs from the eastern states and they take on our best here. We've got some smart ones, as we saw last night, Weston Sydney running the 3rd quickest time ever at Cannington. So it's going to be exciting. Miss Envy will be returning. You've also got Shane's Greyhound. So there's some really, really talented chasers here in WA, and it'll be interesting to see which ones actually do come across from the east, because some of them will be trying to get slots for the Sandgroper, which is only a month away.
Yeah, that's come up quick, hasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Time flies.
You go and rest your tonsils and prepare.
I will. Good to have some greyhound content continue this morning, trying to do a little bit for Shorty to help him out. He is doing it pretty tough at the moment, so keep him in your thoughts and his family. It's always a tough time, and our thoughts once again go out with him. And looking forward to you continuing on with race day, and of course the team back with Drive later on this afternoon with Marty Young.
Plenty ahead. Thank you, Peter.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.